The Havoc in My Head, written by Edie Hackett, performed by Marie Mitchell. Part 1. When life shatters at your feet, remember to step delicately and breathe. Edie Hackett. Chapter 1. What if you have a brain tumor? My best friend Jessica sipped her coffee and looked at me with concern in her eyes. Her pursed lips and raised eyebrows waited for a response. What? No, it's just migraines. Doesn't everyone get migraines now and then? I asked. Jessica ran her finger up and down the beige coffee cup and placed it on the napkin that read, Marty's Diner. She put it on the booth table next to her half-eaten breakfast. Yes, of course people get headaches, but Ashley, you've never had headaches before. Now you get one and you are practically dead and despondent for the next 24 hours. I hid a smile at her overdramatic assumption. I knew my body handled stress differently than it had in the past, but life was different now. I had 2 children to take care of, an impossible job that allowed us to live in a beautiful gated community, and a husband who worked a side hustle for fun. He was living his best life while I paid most of the bills, but I loved that responsibility of providing for my family. I thought about money and schedules in my spare time, but as my kids got older, I questioned if my obsession with work was doing right by my family. Carefree and spontaneous Ashley, a woman I used to know in college, quickly became coffee-addicted anxious Ashley when my family grew to 3 and 4. Migraines were part of the package, and I had managed to cope. Yes, I get headaches, but it isn't every day. I do not have a brain tumor, I replied with certainty. I picked up my coffee cup and stared out the window. The colorful leaves dotted the brown grass like paint splatter. The red, yellow, and orange leaves immersed themselves into each other to create one beautiful backdrop. A steady stream of cool air traveled through the gap in the old dusty window, and tiny goose pimples sprung upon my bare arm. I shivered in response and wrapped my new cashmere scarf tighter across my neck. Just keep track of your symptoms, Jessica said. Sometimes these things happen when you least expect them. I thought back to the first migraine I had experienced. I recalled studying in the tiny kitchen in my apartment during college. Living with 3 strangers, we had turned our living room into a bedroom to maximize our privacy, and I didn't consider any of them friends. That day, I sat at the kitchen table and pulled open my textbook. I looked at the words written in the book, and the entire left side of every word danced in place. I couldn't read it because the left side was squiggling and wiggling. I closed my book and looked at the clock on the wall, but the numbers 6 through 12 twirled and swirled. My chest tightened and my body sparked tiny jolts of electricity. Jen! I called to my roommate. She came out of her room holding a can of Coke and a bag of gummy worms. Jen, I'm a little freaked out. The calm words hid my panic. Everything looks really weird right now. My voice cracked as the fear broke through. I called Student Health Services on campus, left a message, and waited for the nurse to call me back. She sent us to the emergency department because sudden visual impairment could be serious. When I got into the emergency department and saw a nurse, the left half of my vision had quieted, and there was nothing to examine. Even though my eyesight was fully functioning, I still had to see a doctor before they could discharge me. He told me that it was probably an ocular migraine, and the headache may or may not follow. That day, the headache never came. He told me to rest and relax and follow up with my doctor if the same visual disturbance occurred again. From that point forward, I never had another ocular migraine. Feeling foolish for wasting her time, my time, and money, Jen and I trudged home with me lost in my thoughts as to if what I saw had really happened. Had I imagined the whole thing? Fast forward 15 years, and my migraine settled right in between my eyes. At its worst, it felt like a little man living inside my skull and whacking the inside of my head with a tiny pickaxe. At its best, it was a constant dull ache that made me question my water consumption, amount of sleep, and level of exercise. No, I didn't have migraines every day, but I definitely had headaches every day. Besides, I said to Jessica, I already saw my doctor for migraines and
Sample complete. Ready to continue?